It's time for another episode of the League Lowdown, the series designed to help inspire your next FM22 Save Idea, as we look at the best clubs to manage in Football Manager. This time we're in Croatia, a nation few others can match in terms of outstanding natural beauty. But of course we're not here as tourists, but as prospective football coaches. So let's investigate the clubs you could take charge of, from champions to challengers, as well as clubs in need of a rebuild, as we embark on the League Lowdown guide to Croatia. Welcome to a long overdue League Lowdown for Croatia, one of the trickiest leagues to win on Football Manager due to the strength of the biggest club. We'll get to them in a moment. Let's start by checking out the league structure. So let's talk you through the league structure in Croatia. Not as simple as it might appear at first sight. The top division is relatively stable. It's got 10 clubs in it. They play each other 4 times across the season. In the first campaign, the team that finishes bottom are relegated down to the second tier. By the time you get into your second season in Croatia, the team that finishes 9th will also fall into a play-out against one of the teams from the division below. In the division below, you've got 16 clubs there for season 1, but 5 of them are relegated. By the time you hit season 2, only 12 clubs will be competed in this division. The top team will be promoted. The team that comes second get that playoff against the team from the division above that comes 9th. The bottom team will be relegated into the unplayable divisions, and there's a similar play-out for the club that comes 11th each season in the second tier. So the system will change between your first season and your second. But that's a brief overview of how it will work. Now let's check out the clubs you could take charge of, starting with the most successful. Having only been formed in 1992, the Croatian League is a relatively young one. The most successful club and the reigning champions are Dinamo Zagreb, who are also one of the most successful clubs in Yugoslavian football as well. They play at a 35,000 capacity arena. We'll start with their facilities, which are as good as you would expect for the country's most successful team. Great training facilities, great youth facilities, excellent academy coaching, and excellent youth recruitment as well. All of which shows that if you want to try and produce Croatian youngsters, Dinamo Zagreb are a great destination for you. In terms of their history, well, they are a Croatian club that has won a European trophy. They won the forerunner to the UEFA Cup, called the Intercities Fairs Cup, back in 1967 when they beat England's Leeds United over 2 legs. In Yugoslavian football, where they won the league title 9 times, although some of those early titles were when it was a knockout cup competition rather than a league, and their rivals Hajduk Split might quibble with whether they've won more Yugoslavian league titles than them. They also won the Yugoslavian Cup 7 times. They've won the Croatian Cup a mammoth 15 times, but it's those 22 Croatian league titles, including wins in 2018, 19, 20 and 2021, that make them Croatia's most successful club. Taking charge of this club will all be about trying to develop your own talent, buying the best of the nation's players, and seeing if you can turn Dinamo into a European force once more. No easy challenge, but there are other clubs out there for whom just winning a league title is even more of a challenge. The big rivalry in Croatian football is between Dinamo and Hajduk Split, a rivalry that intensified when the Croatian League was formed. Hajduk have a very successful history in their own right and some pretty decent facilities. Good training, good youth, excellent academy coaching and good youth recruitment. You can see that you'll need a little bit of investment to get up to the kind of facilities that Dinamo boast. But in terms of the trophies that this club has won, well, they're missing a European trophy, but otherwise they are a very successful club. Going back to Yugoslavian football, they won the Yugoslavian title 9 times. They've also won the Yugoslavian Cup on the same number of occasions. Since Croatian football was formed in 1992, well, they've won the Croatian Cup 6 times, and you can see how dominant this club were at the start of the century, and they've won the Croatian League on 6 occasions as well. However, it's 2005 since the last occasion that Hajduk managed to win the Croatian title. This is a club that yearns to a return to winning titles once more. Taking charge of this club is all about trying to win them the league before making them competitive in Europe. That could be a challenge that you could take on. This is certainly a club big enough to make you a competitive force nationally and on the continent as well. But there are some other clubs that have been challenging these big two over recent seasons. As mentioned, only 4 clubs have ever won the Croatian League title, and one of those clubs, NK Zagreb, are in the unplayable 3rd tier in Football Manager, but the 4th are in the top flight, and that club is Rijeka. They're a much smaller club than both Hajduk and Dinamo. They've got a stadium that holds just over 8,000 fans, and their facilities, well, they're decent for training. They've got great training facilities and great youth facilities, but in terms of developing youngsters, they've only got adequate academy coaching and average youth recruitment, so investment would be needed to produce the top players in the nation. But in terms of their history, well, they've got that one Croatian League title that they secured in 2017. They've also won the Croatian Cup on 6 occasions as well, winning it back-to-back in 2019 and 2020. So recent success there. And back when they were playing Yugoslavian football, well, they won the Cup there twice as well, back-to-back again at the end of the 1970s. This is certainly more of a challenge than taking on either Hajduk or Dinamo. Maybe that's a challenge that you're up for, but there are other clubs out there that would provide an equal challenge. The club that were runners-up in the league behind Dinamo last season were Osijek. They've got a 19,500 capacity stadium. They've got rather decent facilities as well for a club of their size. Good training, good youth, good academy coaching. Average youth recruitment means that this is a club where you could be developing some talent. In terms of the trophies that they've won, well, no Yugoslavian titles or cups. They've also got no Croatian League titles, but they do have a solitary cup win. They won it in 1999, which was the first major honour in the club's history. Taking over Osijek is somewhat of a challenge, but with that kind of stadium and those kind of facilities, well, they give you half a chance. But there's other clubs in the top flight that might appeal to you. As evidence of what a tough league Croatia is to manage in, not only have 4 clubs ever won the top flight, but only 5 clubs have ever won the cup. A club that has come close to honours are a team from Zagreb called Lokomotiva. In the season before last, they were runners-up in the league. In fact, they've been runners-up in the top division twice during their history, but otherwise, they have a trophy cabinet just waiting to be filled. They're a capital club, they've got a decent-sized stadium, and in terms of their facilities, well, they've got excellent academy coaching and good youth recruitment, so developing youngsters might be something that you could work on. Certainly more of a challenge if you take over at Lokomotiva, but they're not the only nearly men playing in the top flight. Another club that's come close to winning honours without quite being able to get over the line are Slaven Belupo. Again, another top flight team, a much smaller one this time. Their stadium holds just over 3,000 supporters. Their facilities are more modest as well. They've got good training facilities, average youth facilities, adequate academy coaching, and average youth recruitment. There are no trophies in their cabinet, but they have reached 2 Croatian Cup finals, agonisingly losing on both occasions in 2007 and 2016 to Dinamo Zagreb. They were both narrow defeats, losing 2-1 on each occasion, but this is a club that starts out in the top flight and is itching for a first trophy. Maybe you're the coach that could win it for them. So whether Varazdin have experienced major heartbreak or not is a little bit open to interpretation. Officially founded in 2012, they were set up following the bankruptcy of another club from the town when their financial backers and sponsors withdrew from the club. Varazdin started out in the 3rd tier of Croatian football. They're now in the 2nd tier. Since 2012, well, they've had a relatively quiet existence, but before that, they were a club that experienced much heartbreak. In Yugoslavian football, they made it all the way to the Yugoslavian Cup final before agonisingly losing out. In Croatian football, they've been to a staggering 6 Croatian Cup finals, losing every single one. As recently as 1999, they were making it to the quarter-finals of the European Cup Winners' Cup before bowing out to Real Mallorca from Spain. Whether those achievements were, in fact, part of this current guise of the club, or whether they were a part of the forerunners' existence, is open to interpretation. But one thing is clear, this could be a great club for you to take charge of. A decent-sized stadium, a club that's one of the favourites to get promoted out of the second tier this campaign, you could try and return them to the top flight before taking them to the Croatian Cup final and ending those decades of misery for the people of this town. So that concludes the League Lowdown guide to Croatia, a nation where taking charge of any club other than Dinamo is going to be a great challenge indeed. We will see you very soon when we make another country the focus of our next League Lowdown.